Imagine finding a smartphone in a Roman tomb, or a jet engine inside a Viking ship. Your brain would reject it. You would call it a hoax, a prank, or a glitch in the matrix, because history is supposed to be a straight line of progress. We start with stones, move to bronze, then to steam, and finally to silicon. But in 1901, off the coast of a tiny Greek island called Antikythera, history broke. Divers searching an ancient shipwreck found a lump of green-encrusted bronze. For decades it sat in a museum, ignored as a curiosity. But when we finally looked inside with modern X-rays, we didn't find a rock. We found a computer. A complex hand-cranked machine with over 30 intricate bronze gears, built 2,000 years ago. It is a device so advanced, so mathematically perfect, that it shouldn't exist for another 1,500 years. Tonight we decode the machine out of time. This is Mythic Code Official. The Antikythera mechanism is history's ultimate impossible object. It was designed to track the movements of the sun, the moon, and the 5 known planets with terrifying accuracy. It could predict eclipses decades in advance. It even had a dial to track the 4-year cycle of the Olympic Games. This isn't just clever. This is high-level mechanical engineering. The gears used differential gearing, a mathematical concept we thought wasn't discovered until the 16th century. Odysseus used a horse to lie. The builders of Giza used stone to broadcast. But the creators of this machine? They used bronze to calculate the universe. The psychology of the anomaly. Why did it take us 100 years to realize what we had? Because our linear narrative of history blinded us. We couldn't imagine that primitive Greeks were capable of Swiss watch precision. We assume we are the smartest humans to ever live. But the Antikythera mechanism is a 6-inch tall middle finger to our modern ego. But the real mystery isn't the machine itself. It's what happened next. Technology of this scale doesn't just appear in a vacuum. It requires a school of thought, a factory, a tradition of engineering. If one of these existed, thousands must have. So where are they? This is the Great Deletion in action. Just as the Library of Alexandria was burned to control the narrative, the knowledge to build these machines was scrubbed from the earth. We went from building analog computers in 100 BC to living in wooden huts, and forgetting that the earth was round a few centuries later. We didn't just stop progressing. We went backward. Why? Because knowledge that makes people too powerful is dangerous to those in charge. If you can predict the heavens, you don't need to fear the gods. If you can calculate the future, you don't need a king to tell you what to do. The Antikythera mechanism proves that human progress is not a ladder. It is a heartbeat. And for a long time, that heart stopped beating. We look at our modern world and think our technology is permanent. We think the cloud is forever. But the Antikythera shipwreck tells a different story. It tells us that our most advanced secrets are only one disaster away from becoming green rocks at the bottom of the sea. We are currently in a digital peak. We have AI that can write poetry and satellites that can see through walls. But are we building things that last? Or are we building disposable tech that will leave no trace when the next deletion comes? The Antikythera mechanism is a message in a bottle from a version of humanity that almost reached the stars 2,000 years early. It is a reminder that the code can be lost, and that history is written by those who survive, not necessarily by those who were the most advanced. If the Antikythera mechanism was the peak of a mountain, we have lost the mountain itself. Behind this single device stood centuries of forgotten masters, the secret schools of Archimedes and the engineers of Rhodes, whose names were scrubbed from the record during the Great Deletion. We treat progress as a law of nature, but history shows it is a fragile choice. When a civilization chooses convenience over understanding, it paves the way for its own erasure. Today, we don't build. We subscribe. We don't repair. We replace. We are becoming a civilization of users, disconnected from the very gears that drive our world. The Greeks had the gears, but they lost the peace. We have the peace, but we are losing the gears. As the archive uncovers these fragments, the warning is clear. If we fell from the stars once, what makes us think we are too big to fall again? The silence of the shipwreck isn't just history, it's a whisper intended for us. What are we losing right now because we've outsourced our thinking to machines? The archive is open. The gears are turning. But listen closely. This story isn't about the past. It's about the choice we make today. In our offices, our universities, our homes, we are either building monuments or monuments to our own forgetting. The Antikythera mechanism reminds us that civilization is not automatic. It is a conscious act repeated daily by people who choose understanding over convenience. Every time you repair instead of replace, every time you question instead of accept, every time you build something that lasts instead of something designed to fail, you are defying the Great Deletion. You are saying no to the slow erasure of human capability. You are writing code, literal and metaphorical, that future generations might find, study, and learn from. The gears are waiting. The question is, will we turn them or let them rust?
The Voynich paradox. The human mind abhors a vacuum. When we are faced with a locked door, we are biologically driven to find the key. When we are faced with a secret, we are compelled to expose it. It is the survival mechanism that brought us out of the caves and put us on the moon. But there is one object in the archive that has spent 600 years defeating every genius, every cryptographer, and every supercomputer ever thrown at it. It is known as the Voynich Manuscript. 240 pages of fragile vellum, written in a graceful, flowing hand that has never been seen before or since. It is the world's most beautiful prison. Tonight we decode the unbreakable cipher. This is Mythic Code Official. In 1912, a Polish book dealer named Wilfred Voynich was digging through a dusty trunk in a Jesuit college near Rome. Beneath piles of forgotten theology texts, he found a book that shouldn't exist. Modern carbon dating tells us the animal skin used for the pages was prepared in the early 15th century. But the content is a nightmare for the rational mind. The book is divided into distinct sections: botany, astronomy, biology, and pharmacology. But as you turn the pages, a psychological mirage begins to set in. You realize you are looking at an encyclopedia for a world that isn't ours. Let us start with the botany. The manuscript contains over 100 intricate drawings of plants. They are rendered with the absolute precision of a master herbalist. There is only one problem. Not a single one of these plants exists on Earth. Botanists have spent a century trying to match the leaves, the strange bulbous roots, and the venomous green stems to known species. They have failed. Furthermore, these plants lack the structural integrity to survive Earth's gravity. Their root systems are designed for porous, non-organic soil. Their leaves are shaped to absorb a spectrum of light that our sun does not provide. This leads us to the astronomy section. The manuscript features fold-out pages of celestial maps, bursting with stars and strange glowing spheres. But astronomers cannot align these charts with our night sky. The constellations are wrong, the phases are wrong. It is as if the author was looking up at the heavens from an entirely different hemisphere of the universe. Odysseus used a horse to lie. The builders of Giza used stone to broadcast. But the author of the Voynich manuscript used a ghost language. The script of the book is known as Voynichese. It has its own unique alphabet of 20 to 30 characters. To truly understand why this language is terrifying, we have to look at the math. In 1935, a linguist named George Zipf discovered a mathematical law that governs every natural human language, from English to ancient Sumerian. It's a logarithmic curve of word frequency. If you sit down and try to fake a language, you will inevitably fail to match this curve. The human brain is simply not capable of generating thousands of random words that mimic organic statistical patterns. But the Voynich manuscript matches Zipf's law perfectly. This means that whoever wrote this wasn't just making it up. They were thinking in this language. They were dreaming in it. But here's the glitch. While the mathematical structure is completely human, the vocabulary is empty. There are no two-letter words. There is almost no punctuation. It is a linguistic firewall. It is as if someone took the operating system of a human brain and loaded it with data from another dimension. Historically, historians blame the 15th century alchemists, men like Roger Bacon or the Elizabethan occultist John Dee. In that dark era, knowledge was a death sentence. If you discovered a biological secret that challenged the dogma of the church, you didn't publish it. You hid it behind a wall of impenetrable code. But the Voynich manuscript is too consistent to be a simple substitution cipher. Look closely at the vellum under a microscope. There are no corrections, no crossed-out words, no hesitations. The ink flows with the fluid, rapid confidence of a native speaker writing in their mother tongue. This consistency forces us into the darkest corner of the archive, the multiverse theory. Could this be a survey from an alternative timeline? A version of Earth where evolution took a completely different path? It sounds like science fiction until you realize that every rational explanation has already shattered against the book's pages. Perhaps we are looking at a survival guide, a manual written by entities who found themselves stranded in our version of the 1400s, a user manual for a planet they no longer recognized. They weren't writing it for us. They were writing it so they wouldn't forget who they were. This terrifying theory deepens when we examine the biological section. Here we find dozens of illustrations of naked women bathing in strange, green, interconnected pools and tubes. Academic historians call it an ancient manual for medieval gynecology or bathing rituals. But look closer at the geometry of the tubes. They do not look like plumbing. They look like biological circuits. They resemble blood vessels, cellular structures, and even primitive depictions of the human nervous system. Is this the great deletion of the 15th century? Just as we lost the analog computers of ancient Greece, did we lose a form of advanced biological science? Were these alchemists mapping the microscopic world centuries before the invention of the microscope, using the only artistic vocabulary they had? We live in an age of supreme technological arrogance. We believe that big data and artificial intelligence can solve any puzzle the past left behind. In recent years, cryptographers have fed every single page, every symbol, and every curve of the Voynich manuscript into the world's most powerful neural networks and military-grade supercomputers. They expected the machines to crack the code in seconds. The result? Total, deafening silence. The AI can identify the syntax, but it cannot find the meaning. This reveals a terrifying limitation of our own modern gods. Artificial intelligence works entirely on probability and existing human data. But if the Voynich manuscript is truly outside our data set, if it belongs to an alien cognitive framework, our machines are as blind as we are. It is a digital firewall made of 600-year-old ink. It proves that there are things in this universe that are read-only for the human species. We are a high-speed, low-memory civilization. We think that because a fact cannot be found on a search engine, it simply does not exist. But the Voynich manuscript mocks our search engines. It sits quietly in a high-security vault at Yale University, a physical, tangible reminder that the universe does not owe us an explanation. The Voynich manuscript is ultimately a mirror. When we stare into its pages, we do not see the 15th century. We see our own intellectual vanity. We see our desperate, obsessive need to categorize, to label, to own, and to dominate the truth. What happens to a civilization that loses the ability to read its own foundational codes? We are currently outsourcing our entire collective memory to the cloud, just as the ancients once outsourced their knowledge to the Great Library of Alexandria. When the next great deletion comes, what will remain of us? Will our digital archives, our fragmented code, become the next Voynich manuscript? A collection of glitching screens and dead servers that the next dominant species will stare at with the exact same pathetic confusion we feel today? The archive is open. The script is waiting to be broken. Subscribe to Mythic Code Official. Decode the world or be lost to time.